Major funding for Deer Hunt Wisconsin 2016 is provided by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Welcome to Deer Hunt Wisconsin 2016. I'm Dan Small. This is our 25th annual special program designed to bring you up to speed on deer management issues and hunting opportunities here in the Badger State. It's no secret that Wisconsin offers some of the best deer hunting anywhere in North America. And in this program, we'll cover the basic information you need to have a successful deer season. We'll also look at the tradition of returning to familiar hunting grounds, places we cherish, with family members and friends to participate in the sport we love and look forward to every fall. And we'll welcome some new hunters to the fold as they get a taste of what we hope will become a new tradition for them and their families. There are some changes again this year, and we'll go over those with help from Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources staff members. We'll also provide a forecast for this year's hunt. There's a lot of information in the Wisconsin Deer Hunting Regulations booklet, and you can pick up a copy at DNR service centers and license outlets around the state. You can also download a copy from the DNR website, dnr.wi.gov, keywords deer hunting. Throughout the program, you'll see the phone number for the DNR call center on your screen. You can call this number if you have questions 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., or you can visit the DNR website and type in keyword deer anytime, day or night. And if you have a smartphone, you can download the free Wisconsin Pocket Ranger app, which contains all the information in the hunting regulations booklet, along with some other features like GPS mapping, places to hunt on public land, and even a trophy case where you can share photos instantly with other hunters. Find out more on the DNR website under keyword mobile apps. 2015 was the first year Wisconsin hunters were required to register deer electronically. Here's Kevin Wallenfang, who heads up the deer program for the DNR, with a look at how the new system worked last year and advice for hunters as they prepare for this year's season.
We registered over 300,000 deer, every single one of them registered with electronic techniques. So we're quite happy with how it went. We had about 60% of all the people that registered a deer last year actually used their phone as a computer or their home computer. So it worked quite well. And they told us that was the fastest and easiest way for them to do it, so we want to encourage people to do that again this year. We tested compliance with a variety of different methods, from warden checks out in the field to surveys and whatnot, and we found that somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 to 93%, depending on the survey method that we used, registered their deer legally just as they always have in the past. Going into 2016, let's not forget that plenty of people did not get a deer last year, and this is still going to be new for them. But if they figured out the system last year, it's going to be exactly the same this year. Even though you're not taking that animal in and showing it to somebody, registration is still mandatory. A little bit of a new twist this year is that because the carcass tags are now paper, you don't have to tag your animal right away. You have until 5 o'clock the day after that deer is harvested. So you go through the registration process, and we want you to put that confirmation number on the carcass tag. Then we recommend you put it into a plastic bag, stick it in your pocket, and wait till you're out of the woods before you actually tag the deer. And anytime you leave that animal, it needs to be tagged. So that is our rule. If you leave it, tag it.
For many of us, hunting is a heritage. It's a family tradition passed down from one generation to the next. Let's visit one family's hunting camp and hear their story.
Growing up, my dad had always hunted, so I've been around it pretty much my whole life, and a lot of my uncles also hunted and all that. And I remember a lot of times when he would come home after a hunt, and he would bring in a lot of animals, and I was really interested in like seeing the geese lined up.
My kids weren't really, Dad, I want to go hunting when they're, 5 and 6, 7. And none of my kids really kind of jumped on the hunting wagon. It was something that, I was always going, man, I miss my kids, but, I really like hunting. So I kept hunting. I just, and then when Michelle took such such an interest in animals. I mean, every animal in the neighborhood that she brought home.
So then that's when the switch happened, because I had said, how could I want to save these animals and do something good for these animals, but kill these animals at the same time? You know, how I didn't see how that could work and how that could be possible. And so, like, even for my dad, I couldn't understand how he could love animals so much, because he does, you know, just like me, but then go out and hunt them. So then I went through a brief phase where I was a vegetarian, because I had a lot of problems with the meat industry and how animals were treated in terms of mass production of meat. So then I would say somewhere in high school, after my brief phase as a vegetarian, I had started then eating the meat that my dad brought home again. So the venison and the duck and, you know, just different meats and stuff, and I enjoyed it. And I realized then that the meat that he was bringing home, it wasn't tortured. It was out in its natural habitat, and then it was taken humanely. But that didn't mean then that I was ready at all to be a hunter, you know, but I could accept then that my dad was one. And so I think that, you know, helped a lot. And then I went off to college, where I met Jackson, my husband, or now husband, and he was an avid hunter, you know, very much an outdoorsman. My dad got wind, you know, that Jack's a hunter, so then they started hunting together, and they would do, you know, some pheasant and some deer here and there. So I decided at that point then that I wanted to be kind of responsible for getting my own food. I wanted to feel the connection that they felt to the outdoors and to the animals. And so last year was the first year that I hunted, and I did bow and then rifle season too.
When Michelle shot her first deer, she immediately was excited. It was so quick and very emotional, because, you know, to deliberately take a life was a big step for her. But she, I think, understands that, and it's rewarding to see that, you know, that's about the most humane way you can eat meat, and there's nothing that can get more organic than that.
Having two people to guide me through my hunting experience has been invaluable. I would have never been a hunter ever had I not had them with me. I've experienced some kickback from other conservationists or other outdoors people that they struggle with me being a hunter and also being a conservationist. The two are not on opposite ends of the spectrum, and that hunters can be some of the best conservationists, because, you know, we're the ones who are out in the woods, and we're relying on that animal and that meat, and we're relying on the woods to be there. You know, we're relying on the public lands to be there. And when those go away, well, for some people their hobby goes away, some people their livelihood goes away. So, you know, hunters are conservationists, and I think that's something that really needs to change in terms of how hunters are viewed.
One of the recent changes in deer management is the formation of County Deer Advisory Councils, or CDACs, to increase public involvement in deer management decisions.
The councils consist of 7 stakeholder seats that are of relative importance to deer management in the state. Agriculture, forestry, transportation, tourism, hunting, and also a private landowner spot. There's also a seat for any tribal representation as well. The CDACs are chaired and led by the delegates of the Wisconsin Conservation Congress, and so they're a big partner in this effort.
The Wisconsin Conservation Congress's role in the CDACs is to be the leaders. We have the chair position and the vice chair position. The importance of having a local person being involved in the CDAC and leading it as a Conservation Congress representative is because they understand the local issues, they understand the dynamics of deer hunting and the hunter's perception of deer in their county.
Some of the goals and purposes of CDACs are to collect local input on antlerless quotas for the specific counties they represent and antlerless permit numbers. In addition, we also have discussions on season structures and the upcoming fall hunting seasons.
I think there's real importance for hunters to be involved in the perspective of what the CDAC has to offer. It's like being a citizen scientist. So I would encourage every hunter to go to the DNR website and start filling out those hunter surveys. That way the county gets accurate information on what people are actually seeing in their counties and how many hours they're sitting in order to see a deer.
So the CDAC program combines science, and the science that we've always used in the department in making our management decisions, with the social aspects of deer management. And those are both very important here in Wisconsin, as people are very passionate about our deer herd, and we're very proud of the deer hunting traditions we have.
In all my years in the Congress, when I saw this new CDAC idea come forward, I was very excited because I think it gives a unique perspective in managing deer. I think a lot of times people from the county felt that their voice or their concerns weren't being heard because management always seemed to be done from Madison out. But you know the people making these decisions. They're your CDAC members.
For more information, visit the DNR website and search keywords CDAC to explore the new CDAC webpage. Anyone who has hunted deer in Wisconsin is familiar with the back tag and carcass tag you received when you purchased a deer hunting license. Due to recent legislation, the requirement to wear a back tag is now a thing of the past. You still need to carry a deer hunting license and proper carcass tags, but with the new Go Wild license system, these are now printed on plain paper. When you buy an archery or firearm deer hunting license this year, you may also select one or more antlerless tags at no cost for use in a farmland zone county of your choice. In most but not all farmland zone units, up to 3 antlerless tags are included with each deer license. Licenses may be purchased through the Go Wild website or by visiting a DNR service center or licensing agent. Simply specify the deer management unit where you'll hunt and whether you'll be hunting on public or private land. Bonus antlerless deer tags are available this season for many Wisconsin deer management units. Bonus tags are sold on a first-come, first-served basis at the rate of 1 per person per day and at a cost of $12 each for Wisconsin residents, $20 each for non-residents, and $5 each for youth ages 10 and 11.
It was one of the mildest winters on record. In addition, we had a very early spring green up, so the deer came out of the winter in good shape and there was a lot of green vegetation for them to eat really quick. The winter in 2013-14 was like the complete opposite of last winter. So we didn't have very many fawns born, so if you look at it from a buck deer perspective, that's affecting us this year. But the good news is, from this last mild winter, whenever a deer survives the winter, they put their extra energy, the bucks do, into antler development. So we should see really good antler development, especially with the 1.5-year-old bucks. We have several counties in the northern forest that are still 0 quota, so that means that those counties are still rebuilding the deer herd, so no antlerless deer, generally speaking, will be harvested. Another very important reminder for deer hunters in the northern forest is we have several new counties that are CWD affected counties, and that would include Oneida, Vilas, and Forest counties. So we encourage hunters, if you harvest a deer in one of those counties, make sure that you turn your deer head in for testing. It's very important from a CWD management perspective.
The Central Farmland Zone has very productive deer herds, and this past winter was pretty easy on them. Even in our more northern portions of the zone, winter was easy and deer had access to forage throughout the winter. Fawn production was pretty good, and along with good fawn production generally comes really good antler production for our adult buck population. In many portions of Central Farmland, we are at the level of being abundant to overabundant, and hunters have the opportunity to do a huge service to the general public and to themselves by taking advantage of ample opportunities to shoot antlerless deer in the Central Farmland Zone. Almost all of the management units have free farmland zone tags for antlerless deer. We have a new change in Oconto County with the discovery of a CWD positive deer in a game farm. We have a baiting ban that is in effect for this hunting season. We have many deer management units that are split between farmland and forest. And when folks are registering the deer that they've taken, be sure that you're registering it in the correct zone. I think hunters will be pretty pleased with the number of deer that they're going to be seeing out there this fall.
We had fantastic habitat conditions with a very wet summer, which produced good growing conditions, so we've got good fawn recruitment. I think hunters are also going to be pleasantly surprised by antler growth this year. And the other thing that's gone on the last few years, we have reduced permit numbers within the forested zone to try and bring those antlerless deer populations and overall deer populations up. So overall, I think hunters will see some more deer in the Central Forest this fall. A couple of things that hunters in the forested zone need to keep in mind is Jackson County will have a zero quota again for the second year. So there are no antlerless permits available. All of the other counties within the Central Forest Zone do have permits available, and hunters were able to purchase those. However, they are limited, and most of them by deer season will be sold out. A very important reminder for hunters that are hunting the Central Forest Zone this fall, especially in Jackson County and even surrounding counties, is after 2 years of extensive effort and partner involvement, we have elk on the landscape in Jackson County through a translocation effort from Kentucky up to Wisconsin. Hunters need to be aware that there are elk on the landscape, and especially calves that were born this past year are similar in size to adult white-tailed deer. And we don't ever want anybody to accidentally make that mistake of shooting one of those elk. We have had a number of CWD positive deer over the last 3 years. We are going to be offering CWD sampling at a number of locations throughout central Wisconsin. We appreciate hunters being involved in that so they can assist us in determining where CWD is and is not on the landscape.
The 2016 deer season in the southern farmland zone, which makes up the southern 20 counties stretching from the Mississippi River to Lake Michigan, looks to be an excellent year. We had very good production, lots of fawns are on the ground. Our summer deer observations and Operation Deer Watch have positive results, so there seems to be quite a few deer there. New for 2016, the holiday hunt is back in 7 counties in the southern farmland zone. If you're interested in participating in that hunt, please visit the DNR website to find more information. All counties do have bonus permits available outside of Racine and Kenosha County in the very southeast portion of the state. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for people to get out and harvest an antlerless deer if they choose to. Winter doesn't play as large a role in southern Wisconsin as it does up in the north, so fawn production is very high, and it also means that those bucks are going to be able to provide a lot more nutrients to assist in the antler growth. So we are very excited to see a lot of decent bucks being harvested already throughout the bow season. So I'd expect to see more really nice photos of some really nice bucks being harvested during this year's gun season. Chronic wasting disease has been an aspect of deer management for quite some time. If you're interested in finding out more information about CWD and where you can get your deer tested, please visit the DNR website and keyword search CWD.
Hunter Anderson shot his first deer last year at the age of 10, but he's been hunting with his dad since he was 3.
We went through our woods and we stopped and looked out on the field and we saw 2 deer. I didn't see them first, which is kind of funny. And then my dad was videotaping it and he was just backing up and the deer saw him and we both froze. And it came up a bit closer, turned broadside again. My dad said, "Take her." And I took her right when my dad said take her and ran 10 yards and dropped, piled up in the woods. It was fun because I've been wanting to do this my whole life since I started hunting and got to do it.
You think you'll keep hunting?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's just a fun thing to go sit out in the woods with friends and family and just listen to the beauty of nature and look around at the wonderful trees and stuff.
I just wanted him to experience what it's like to just have fun hunting. It brought back memories of me getting my first deer. He was so excited. I think I was more excited than he was. I don't know, I just was in awe that he actually got to take that and actually see how happy he was. There's no feeling like it. I can't explain it. No word can explain how I feel for him.
The Midwest Outdoor Heritage Education Expo is a two-day event held each May here at the McKenzie Center in Poynette. This expo alone won't necessarily turn a kid into a hunter, but the hands-on activities kids experience here will certainly give them a taste of what the outdoor lifestyle and natural resources education are all about, for ongoing programs and opportunities to become safe, ethical, and successful hunters.
My most favorite thing I saw here was the ducks. My favorite was probably archery.
Oh, I think with some kids they're going to find something that they just think is incredible and will definitely go forward with it.
Next year's expo is set for May 17 and 18. For more information, visit the Outdoor Heritage Education Center page on Facebook. We've met several new hunters, and we've seen the excitement on the faces of the kids at the Youth Outdoor Expo. Keith Warnke heads up the hunting and shooting sports program for Wisconsin, and he's here to tell us about efforts to recruit new hunters from a different demographic. Their primary interest is hunting for food.
There are really two objectives with the Learning to Hunt for Food program. So the first objective that we have here is to introduce hunting into a segment of society that's interested in hunting for their own food. We just need to provide the tools and skills and knowledge. And the second objective is to really expose the brand of hunting to society as a whole and to show society and novice hunters that food is the ultimate connector for us all to hunting, to conservation, and to our natural resources. We've targeted Learn to Hunt for Food at adults, and for several reasons. First of all, they're interested in hunting. Low-hanging fruit, they've shown an interest. They're mature. They get to make their own decisions. If they decide they want to go hunting, they can take the car, which they own a car, and they can come and drive and meet you to hunt. They also have money. They can buy hunting equipment, and if they feel like hunting is a good value, they're going to invest that money in hunting and in accumulating the equipment and supplies that they need once we've been able to give them the tools or share with them the tools and skills and knowledge that they have to become hunters. One of the biggest benefits of the deer camp experience, of course, is the campfire, hanging out with the experienced hunters and the novice hunters, people talking about their day, people discussing what they learned and what they saw. But the real bond that you see there is the growing camaraderie between the novice hunters and their older guides or mentors who are teaching them how to do it. And people really begin to understand through that experience what deer camp is all about and what deer hunting is all about. And many of them want to go out and replicate that and do that themselves.
Now here's DNR Administrative Warden Matt O'Brien to recap the most important new rules for 2016.
We have several new counties that are currently subject to a baiting and feeding prohibition, those being Oneida, Vilas, and Forest counties in the northern part of the state. And as of November 1st, it will also include Oconto and Menominee counties. If you happen to observe a violation, particularly regarding trespassing, it may be a little bit more difficult without having back tags on the back of a person to help identify them, but you can take photos perhaps to get a subject identification, or even photos or license plates of vehicles, which will also help law enforcement to follow up on those complaints. There are a few new rules this year regarding youth antlerless tags. The first is that in a host of northern counties, youth tags are not going to be available for antlerless harvest, really trying to be responsive to CDAC desires to maintain control over those antlerless numbers. The second change related to youth tags is that the youth antlerless tag is no longer eligible for group hunting. So that's throughout the state. The tag that's assigned to our youth is a tag for them to utilize to pursue antlerless deers and is not going to be available for the whole party to use. Also keep in mind, as you're using recreational vehicles this fall, be good mentors. Just like we help show our youth how to hunt successfully, we want to make sure that we give them the tools to successfully and safely operate recreational vehicles.
Many sportsmen's clubs and shooting ranges are open to the public. Before you head into the woods this season, be sure to sight in your rifle, pistol, shotgun, or muzzleloader. Several guests have mentioned chronic wasting disease, but we haven't looked at CWD in depth because the DNR is currently developing a new 5-year CWD response plan. There's also an exciting research project just getting underway that's studying the impact of predators, hunters, habitat conditions and disease on deer survival and population growth in the core CWD affected area of southwest Wisconsin. We'll report on these projects and more in next year's show. You'll find more on everything we've covered here on the DNR website. Search keywords Deer Show, and also on the Deer Hunt Wisconsin YouTube channel. I'm Dan Small. On behalf of everyone who's worked on this 25th anniversary program, we wish you a safe and successful deer season, and be sure to join us again next year for another episode of Deer Hunt Wisconsin.
Major funding for Deer Hunt Wisconsin 2016 is provided by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.